basis of this comes anger, on the basis of that comes jealousy and all the other dramas, you know. There's lots and lots and lots of states of mind, but effectively these are the main ones. We can get in touch with these. And it just takes time because this definition of them is not ours. And then with practice, but looking internally, you learn to listen. And this is the key. You go beyond the emotional component. See, this is one of the biggest problems of our world, our culture, like I'm saying, based on our scientific view, that we think things are normal. And then secondly, we think they're emotions. So like I said before, we only notice the anger when it's vomiting out my mouth. Well, it is way too late to start to say, what'll I do? You've got to say it, but it's learning. You've got to learn from it. Go back to basics. So this is the point that Buddhist psychology makes, which initially is not evident to us. When we think of these, we think of anger, attachment, jealousy, love, compassion. We think of them as emotions, as feelings. What we mean by that is when the body is involved. We feel them in the body. Well, that's the tip of the iceberg for the Buddha. That's just the tip of the iceberg. That's the evidence that deep in your bones, you've had this conceptual stories called anger, compassion, love, attachment. The virtuous ones too, they're elaborate stories, but they're deep in our bones. And because we don't notice them until they're really strong, which is their physical, but then we start to pay attention. But like I said, it's too late to start paying attention. So that's where the Buddhist one is so practical. We've got to start paying attention deeper down before it gets to the level of vomiting out the mouth. That's what the practice is. And that's why, practically speaking, having a simple technique, you start your little bit of mindfulness, 3 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes of just focusing, 3 minutes, forget 20, 99% of the time it's just spacing out. 3 minutes of this simple technique called concentration, you know. The long-term result is something different, but the beginning of it, even the main benefit of 3 minutes, not following every crazy thought, but focusing on your breath, let's say. Don't hear it as cosmic. It's practical. The benefits of it are practical. You're consciously deciding not to follow every thought. So the benefit of this is, in your daily life, once you get up and start walking around doing your breakfast and driving the car, because you've begun the habit of focusing your mind, you're stepping out of the chaos. So naturally you can hear the chaos more, and that's good. Because now you can hear the thoughts. So, you know, normally when you're driving the car, you're overwhelmed by all the daily life, getting breakfast, doing this, anxious, late, blah, the clock, worried, physical, external, external, external. You're not paying attention to what's going on in here, and then suddenly the car jumps in front of you, you freak out, cry and shout. Whereas if you start this process of stepping out of your head for even 3 minutes, don't think it's about relaxation. This is not a relaxation technique. There are lots of relaxation techniques you can learn from yoga people. This is not a relaxation technique. Second, this meditation is not to make all the thoughts go away. It's like we use it as an alternative to a pill. It's completely absurd to think of it as this. It's a rigorous training of your mind to stay focused. So the natural consequence is you think you're getting worse. Because if for 3 minutes you're going to focus just on the breath, your thoughts are all still there, they've always been there, but suddenly you notice them. And we all think we're getting worse. No, it's a good sign. It's a sign of success. Because that's what we have to start paying attention to, the thoughts. So when you bring to bear this technique in your daily life and you're driving the car, because you're not only paying attention to the cars, you're actually paying attention to what's happening in here as well, simultaneously. That's the job we have to learn. So then you can be more in control of what's in there before it comes out the mouth. Okay, that takes time, but that's the idea. You learn to become more familiar with all the thoughts that are normally just unconscious. That's really the essence of it. And you become more and more familiar the more focused you get, and you go deeper and deeper. So naturally, you think you're getting worse because you're discovering thoughts that you didn't know were there before. Well, they've all been there for a long time. We have to unpack and unravel them. It's like you go to the gym for the first time. You come home with pain, muscles you didn't know you had. You know it's a good sign though, don't you? You don't go, oh my God, I'm going to go to the doctor. No. This is the same here. So we have to, meditation is not, of doing this job, is not about making all the thoughts go away. It is not about relaxing. And it's not an alternative to a pill. It's an intelligent technique to help you become familiar with your own thoughts beneath the emotions. Does that logic make sense? Does that make sense? And that's hard, because we can't, attachment, you see, our attachment can't stand all the unhappy thoughts. The commonest thing people say, oh, I've been practicing for 30 years and I'm still angry, I'm still depressed. Well, you're just noticing it, that's all. Long way to go, baby. You've got to know it's there. So we've got to have courage, rather than thinking you've got to make it all go away, which is like the pill business. It's like ridiculous. You've got cancer, you just want to take a pill to make the pain go away. What good is that? It's helpful, but you've got to get to the basics, don't you? Get to the root of the problem. So you've got the attitude towards this job. One of my friends is a therapist. You know, she said, she's a Buddhist. She said, you know, doing this job is having your hands in your own shit. And it's not kidding. It's genuinely true. Why? Because you're trying to identify the stuff that causes you pain. But our trouble is we just get guilty when we see it. Oh, I shouldn't be like this. Well, you've been like it for eons, Buddha says, so relax. You've got to become familiar. So it takes courage. It's not the way we think. Sit down, meditate, feel all blissy, you know, load of rubbish. I really mean it sincerely. It's such a superficial view of spiritual, it's revolting, you know. Excuse me.